Hi guys! So one of the things I've been seeing in my subscription feed a lot over the past month or so is 30 things I want to do before I'm 30 videos. Now I really enjoy watching these, but if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't feel like I'm at a place in my life, mentally, whatever, where I feel like I want to do a list like that. But I did realise that in my head I'd very much be making a list of things I wanted to do in 2018. So a lot of these are quite small things. They might just be visiting a specific art gallery that I've never been to, and some of them are a little bit more career focused or general things I want to be better at. So I wouldn't necessarily say they're New Year's resolutions, because I think they're quite practical and often individual things, and just things that I will enjoy and things I'm excited to do in 2018. So I actually have managed to make a list of 18 things I want to do in 2018 and thought I would share them with you. So without further ado, let's get into the list. So one of the things I'd really like to do in 2018 is go and see a West End musical. I've been living in London technically since August of 2016. I visited London various times in the past, but I have never seen a musical in the West End, and I would absolutely love to. I've seen a few musicals in Edinburgh when I was growing up, like Chicago and The King and I, and really enjoyed them, and just I'm absolutely certain I would love to see a musical in London. I don't know necessarily what a musical will be. I've never seen Wicked. I don't even really know the story of Wicked. I would like to see Matilda. My friends have really highly recommended that. Obviously I know Hamilton's super popular at the moment, although I don't know if I'd get tickets for that this year now. But there's so many going on, and who knows where to start really, but what I would like to do is definitely see one of them. I think my flatmate maybe wants to see Motown, is that the name of one of them? I've always quite fancied seeing The Commitments because I love the book. But if you have any suggestions of musicals that you know are on in London in 2018 and you think I'd enjoy, let me know, because that's something I would really like to do. I think over the past couple of years I've really remembered how enjoyable live performances are, and what an experience it is to go and see things live. So that would just be like one of the top things I'd like to do in 2018. On the topic of London, there's a few places in London that I've never been to that I really want to go. So I've never been to the Tate Britain. I'd really like to go. It's just an art gallery, but you know what I mean. It's an art gallery. I'm pretty sure it's free to get into if their standard collection, and it's separate from the Tate Modern, which I have been to. The Tate Britain's not modern art, naturally, and I like a mixture of things actually. I love modern art. I know people aren't always crazy about modern art. I do adore modern art, but I can also appreciate some older stuff and I'd really just like to go and see the Tate Britain collection. On that topic, I would also really like to go to the V&A, which is another gallery in London that I haven't been to. So these are just things that aren't going to cost me, that I would just like to do at some point, to experience what they have to offer and have some fun, whether I go with somebody else or by myself. My fourth free thing in London would also be to go to the Natural History Museum, which I have been to when I was a child, but I've not been as an adult. And again, I love a museum, I love a gallery, so I would really like to go back as an adult. I'm really intrigued if they still have those robotic dinosaurs, because that is what left an imprint on my brain as a child. Those were intense. I think those are my 3 things I want to do that are free in London, but I'd also like to go to Kew Gardens, which is the botanical gardens in London, and I believe that does cost money, so that's something more for when I'm feeling like splashing out some cash. I would like to go to Kew Gardens. It's a bit of a shame, I must say, that you have to pay to go to Botanic Gardens in London, because in Edinburgh the Botanic Gardens are free, and I feel like I spent a massive proportion of my childhood in the Botanic Gardens, going with my dad most often, would take me and one of my other friends, and I think things like that being free are so important, because especially if you're taking children, more than one children, lots of people can't afford to pay for like themselves and multiple children to visit all of these things, and it's nice to be able to experience those things as a child. They really, I think, inspire further knowledge in different topics, and yeah, get you really excited, and they're nice things to do. and I feel very lucky that the Botanic Gardens was one of those things that was free when I was growing up, although now you do have to pay for the hothouses. And I know I'm going off on a tangent, but the rest of the gardens are still free. Regardless though, I've heard Kew Gardens are amazing. I love botanical gardens and I'd really like to go. On the topic of free things though, one of the things I want to do in 2018 that is related to London is to join my local library and go to my local library. Again, the library is something I used to use a lot in Edinburgh, and I moved to London and just never got around to signing up for the libraries, and then I spent a lot of 2017 again in Edinburgh, so it's just something I've never gotten around to doing, but I have since. Actually, before making this video, I've signed up online. I just need to go and pick up my library card and start using it. So I'm super excited to see what my local library has to offer, and yeah, hopefully get some good books. Okay, and lastly for things that are exclusively related to London is I want to go to Temple of Satan. I'm never sure you should pronounce that. It's the sort of meat substitute. It's spelled differently from Satan the devil, and it's a vegan fried chicken shop in Hackney that everybody raves about, and I've been meaning to go for ages, so in 2018 I will get myself some vegan fried chicken. It sounds amazing. Moving away from London, something I really want to do in 2017 is to go abroad. So I've not been outside of the UK since spring 2016, which I know isn't necessarily a massively long time. Lots of people go a lot longer without travelling abroad, but I would really like to go in 2017. I would really like to go abroad in 2018. I'm probably not going to be going somewhere like America, but just like a trip within Europe, perhaps somewhere that I've never been before, like Cyprus. Pathos is pretty high up on my list of places I'd like to go, but I would also quite like to go to Portugal or Lisbon, where I've never been before. Regardless, to go abroad, have a nice relaxing holiday, see some new sights, hopefully spend some time with some friends. It's really relaxing, and just really good fun and completely away from the everyday grind. In relation to some of the stuff I was actually talking about in my 2018 YouTube and reading plans in a recent video, I want to start my podcast in 2018. So I have plans for a podcast that I have been thinking about for quite some time and making notes on and preparing and researching, and it's a ancient history and classics mythology podcast, but a lot of it's going to centre in pop culture or classics in the modern day, kind of modern day studies and all of that jazz. So it's not just going to be here's a history lesson every episode, but there will also be episodes that introduce you to historical topics. Anything vaguely related to classics I want to do. I want to do books, I want to do films, I want to do modern day education's relationship with classics, I want to do Harry Potter, I want to do an introduction to ancient Greek philosophy, I want to do studying classics and ancient history at university. I've got a massive list of topics and they're not in front of me. I'm trying to remember them off the top of my head. Classical receptions, maybe some like reception literature, maybe like Shakespeare and classics, art, maybe archaeology topics, everything. I want to talk about everything, and I don't want it to just be me talking, so I want to get on guests, I want to just get the conversation flowing. So I've got a lot of plans, a lot of notes ready to kind of start the podcast, and I've done a lot of research into kind of hosting and those kind of things, and microphones. So it's just kind of setting aside the budget and saying, right, I'm purchasing this microphone, I'm getting started, setting aside the time, maybe pre-recording a few episodes before I put them out into the world, and yeah, hopefully that will be a thing in 2018. The next thing on my list might seem absolutely ridiculous to you, but I'd like to dress up as Willy Wonka at some point. I got some amazing trousers last year that I showed you guys in a fashion haul, which are purple and checked and flared, and I just look at them and every time I see them I think they're Willy Wonka trousers. I want to get like a purple velvet blazer and a top hat and pretend I'm Gene Wilder. So I either need to go to a fancy dress party or throw a fancy dress party, perhaps at Halloween. So this one might take a while, but if you know me, then you know I love fancy dress. I have such fond memories of like past costumes I've dressed up as, things like Tom Baker, Doctor Who, or Dr. Watson, the Mad Hatter. In my head, I'm determined now that I will dress up as Willy Wonka at some point, so if I need to create the circumstances in which I get to dress up as Willy Wonka, then that's what I'll do. Related more to career PhD stuff, I want to present a paper at a big conference. This is something I have been accepted to do, so I am supposed to be presenting a paper at a big conference in spring, and I just want to do that. I want to have accomplished that, completed that, and for it to go well and me not to completely freak out, and to have a good time with it and engage with other scholars about my research and enjoy that experience. I have presented papers at little conferences, so like student conferences before, but this will be quite a different experience. On that topic, I would really like to achieve my upgrade status in my PhD. So for a PhD, there's not regular exams and essays and hand-ins and that kind of thing, but there are milestones that you have to complete. They go by different names and have different structure at different universities. It's all very different. I have completed the first of those milestones, and it was at the end of 2016, beginning of 2017, and around the summer of 2018 is the deadline for my next milestone, which technically will be when I upgrade from MPhil to PhD status. I have to, I believe, submit 10,000 words of my thesis, and then sit in front of a panel who are going to quiz me about those 10,000 words and question what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and make me kind of defend my thesis and what I've submitted to them. So it's a big deal, and I just hope that all goes smoothly. In 2018, I would also like to visit somewhere else in England. So I have been very few places in England. I live in London. I've been to London and spent a lot of time in London over the years. I've been to Blackpool quite a few times when I was a kid with my grandparents, and once when I was a teenager with my mum and my cousin, and I have been to Durham, where I stayed for a week to do ancient Greek summer school in between my first and second, or second and third year of university, because I'm cool like that. And I've been to Margate for a few hours. And that's pretty much all of England that I have seen. So I would like to visit somewhere else in England. I would perhaps like to go to Manchester. My mum and I were thinking maybe we would do a trip to Manchester, and we could both, she would come from Edinburgh, I would come from London, and we would meet there. But other places I would like to go to include Liverpool and Newcastle, and maybe somewhere more in the countryside at that. Wherever it may be, I would like to see more of England. I would like to visit somewhere, hopefully stay a night or two, and yeah, just see somewhere different. I would also like to see an opera in 2018. I've never been to the opera. I've seen musicals, I've seen pantomimes, I've seen plays, I've seen stand-up comedy. Over the past couple of years I've started going to the ballet, which I've really enjoyed, but I have never seen an opera, and I would really like to see one. I don't know if I'm going to like it, but how will I know until I go? So I would just like to see an opera. My next two things aren't particularly measurable. They're not things that I can say, gone there, done that, ticked off the list. But they're just general things I'd like to do more of in 2018. First of all, writing, and I don't mean PhD writing, academic writing, I mean writing different things, so whether that be short stories, myth retellings, non-fiction but not for my PhD, all of that kind of stuff that I've always had a passion for, I've always enjoyed, and has maybe been eclipsed by other things over the years and I've had to go back and forward to, but whenever I return to, I enjoy so much, I feel so passionate about it, and it's something I really want to be a part of my life, is writing. Of course I'd love to be published, but generally just writing in the new year, whatever that may mean. So I want to spend more time doing that. I also want to go to more political things and participate in more political things. Again, I went to a lot of things when I lived in Edinburgh. I moved to London, I did a few things. My life then very much changed in 2017, and I'm not having a go at myself. I did not have the ability to really participate in politics to the extent I would like to in 2017, and that's fine, but it's something I miss and want to do more of in 2018. I am a member of the Labour Party, so there's things I can do in that capacity, but outside of that as well, just more general political things, going to things, helping out with things, trying to make the world a little bit better for people in whatever way that is, and I just want to do more of that in 2018. But last but certainly not least, I have two reading things I'd like to do in 2018. and they are 2 books I would like to read. So the first one is I would like to reread The Odyssey. It's just a book that I enjoy rereading. I think this would be the 3rd time I've read it, and I think it is a standout piece of classical literature. I think it had a massive influence on all of the classical literature to come after that. It's one of the earliest pieces of classical literature we have. It is a great read, and I always really enjoy rereading it, especially if I get to read a new translation. So one of the things that came out in 2017 was the first published version of the Odyssey to be translated by a woman. That's a big deal. So I'd really like to read that translation in 2018. So I need to get a copy of it first, obviously. But I think it would be such a wonderful experience to reread a book I enjoy rereading in a new translation, but in such a important one. So I'd like to do that in 2018. And then lastly, I would like to read Red Shelley by Paul Foot. This is a non-fiction book about Percy Shelley and Percy Shelley's politics and atheism and just views on the world, in kind of how he was quite a radical figure. The main reason I really want to read it is because it was one of the last books that my dad recommended to me. So when we were spending a lot of time with him in the hospice, he found a lecture that Paul Foot did on YouTube. So Paul Foot is a journalist and also a Percy Shelley connoisseur, as we can tell, and there you can watch this on YouTube. It's just like a lecture he gave about Percy Shelley. So we listened to that together in the last few days before he passed away, and he has a copy of Red Shelley, which is this book that is about Percy Shelley's life. And I read a Percy Shelley poem at his funeral, and yeah, I mean I still have a lot of books to read that my dad's recommended me throughout my life, but I'd really like to read that one in 2018. I think that would help me feel really close to him, and yeah, all of that. So yeah, that's simply my reason for wanting to read that and learn a little bit more about Percy Shelley's life, and also read more of his poetry to go alongside that. But that is my list of 18 things I want to do in 2018, from visiting museums to starting new creative projects to hopefully doing a bit of travelling and reading and eating of fake chicken. It's going to be great, I'm sure. Do let me know if you have any things that you want to do in 2018, big or little. Is there an exhibition or a performance you want to see? Is there a walk you've not done before that you'd like to do? Is there a city you'd like to visit or a specific book you'd like to read? Anything, I'd love to hear about it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time guys, happy reading, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!